Good afternoon, Buffalo. Scanlon. My name is Samantha Nephew. I'm a daughter, a sister, a friend, a community advocate, a fierce participant in our Western New York community, a citizen of the United States, but most fundamental to my identity, I'm a member of the Seneca Nation and a Deer Clan. I am honored and delighted to again host this auspicious event to commemorate the beginning of Native American Heritage Month. In my own lifetime, I was extremely fortunate to have a family who made it their mission to ground me in my heritage. There is no doubt in my mind as to who I am, where I'm from, and how I see this world. In the history of Indigenous peoples on what we refer to as Turtle Island, I'm one of the lucky ones. Today we mark the beginning of Native American Heritage Month because we can. Because we are doctors, we are painters, we are chefs, we are teachers, we are communications professionals with a little time on their hands. That's me. Because we are a community within a community that sometimes forgets that we are here. We often see ourselves portrayed as others, or more often, not at all. But the othering holds little power when we know that we are worthy of time, of space, of whatever place we want to plant our own flags. We come together to honor this Haudenosaunee flag as a symbol of the land we reside on today. And we hold this honor for our ancestors before us, who were ridiculed, cast off, or worse, because they dared to be who they were. This is for our ancestors who lived with a purpose that allowed for the knowledge we hold today to remain. We honor all of our Indigenous relatives who were taken from their homes, met with violence should they dare speak the only language they've ever known, and felt the abusive hands who sought to kill the Indian, save the man. It is said that if you know a Native person, you know someone who's been affected by the Indian boarding school system, an American attempt at assimilation. The profound impact of that system is still felt today, as Indigenous peoples are still trying to save languages and preserve the fabric of our culture and human dignity. I will not be calling for a moment of silence because it is my prerogative to make sure our voices are heard, our voices are counted, and we cement ourselves in this time and place. A moment of silence would only lend to the noise around us when this moment is about us and the next 7 generations. In an effort to honor those who came before us, we will celebrate Indigenous Peoples Heritage Month today, the rest of the month, and for me personally, the rest of the year. We will celebrate what we bring to the table here today in 2024. We will celebrate us when our grandmothers couldn't. And now I'd like to introduce Marty Jimerson Jr. from the Indigenous Spirit Dancers to give us a brief prayer.
Junior, yeah.
And Dana dia suhe gora jena ni skar hindwaya angwani goy denonyo anaganos dani howai niok dana angwani goy and Dana dia suhe gora jena ni skar hindwaya angwani goy desedonyo singa jenok do dani howai niok dana angwani goy dani ho.
And now I'd like to invite the Executive Director of the Native American Community Services of Western New York, Mike Martin, to say a few words.
Yahweh Stano, it's a pleasure to be here, and it's great to see a lot of our community leadership out here, our government, the government officials backing us up in this day, as well as our friends and partners in the community work that we do. This is a great day for us to see this flag be risen here in the front of City Hall. It's a reminder and it's a showing to our community members that we are being seen and that we are being heard and that we are the original caretakers, the original occupants of these lands. We were here, are here, and will be here. And it's also a reminder, I think, at this time of, I know the United States has its elections next week. It's a period of time of divide in this country for so many people on different sides of different issues. But let this also serve as a reminder that the United States would not be the United States without the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and learning from us the power of the good mind, which is not always in play. But to be reminded of that the good mind is both an individual but a collective power of how we can resolve differences and find better ways forward. The United States could have been different states. Some states think they're different countries. Each state could have been its own country, and we could have been like a map of Europe or Africa. But they became the United States because they listened to our Haudenosaunee leadership. They saw our Confederacy, which has been in existence well before the United States, well before others had come into our lands. It's still strong and dominant today in our teachings, our ways, in our governance, and our sovereignty. And they learned from us that they could be stronger together than they could be apart. And the founding fathers of the United States listened to our leadership and borrowed those principles and became the United States. One of the peacemaker, one of the things that he did to bring our original 5 nations of our Confederacy together, the Senecas, the Cayugas, the Onondagas, the Oneidas, and the Mohawks, and later the Tuscaroras, who came up and joined us to become the 6th nation of our Confederacy. The peacemaker went to each village, and he found the strongest warrior in each village, and he gave him an arrow, and he asked him to break it, and he was able to do so. And then he gave them 5 arrows bundled together to signify the coming together of those 5 nations. It gave our strength and unity and the power in our common humanity. No matter where we live on this earth as human beings, we all have the same basic needs. We all need clean air to breathe. We need clean water to drink. We need food to sustain us. We want warmth and shelter when we're cold. We all want to feel loved, valued, and safe and secure. And we all laugh and smile in the same language. If we can use this as a symbol to remind all of us about our common humanity, that we can find solutions, not just for us in the Native community, and we have a lot of healing that we have to go through because of traumas that our ancestors have endured. But that's the work we're doing, and we're doing it in the power of unity. But we also need support of friends, allies, and funding, and all of those things. Our good minds coming together to make a better future for all of our 7 generations yet to come. And so please use this as a symbol of inspiration as it is to us. It's a symbol of our Confederacy, our coming together. And you see it on bumper stickers and symbology. The coming together of the purple and the white is colors to reflect the darkness, but also the goodness. And that path that we all have to follow individually, but that we all share and follow collectively. So I share that with you to hopefully provide some encouragement as we move forward, that we can move forward together and help each other meet their individual needs and help each other find strength, health, and that unity that we can share together starting this day, but hopefully always going forward and maintaining. It is our history, but it's also shared history. And we have to remind each other of that shared history, that we are stronger together. And the borrowed concepts from the Haudenosaunee that were taken and used were good things that we were able to share. But don't lose sight of those true values that are embedded within them, and that we can all work together to find better futures for everybody. So I want to thank Samantha for taking the lead and bringing this all together and making this happen. It's, again, an honor and privilege to be here and share some words with you today. And I agree that it's not just one day. We celebrate every day our heritage, our legacy, all of our ancestors that came before us. We also think about those 7 generations yet to come. So I want to say, Yamagoa, thank you very much, and I'll turn it back to Samantha.
Now I would like to bring up Melissa Leonard Parker, another community advocate and Seneca.
First, I want to thank Samantha Nephew for inviting me to speak here today. I'm very honored, and I'm very grateful to her for bringing us all together for this ceremony today. She and I recently had a conversation where we discovered that we both grew up in the city of Buffalo around the same time. And it was a time when Native American Heritage Month was first being recognized nationally, which was in the 90s. And reflecting on that period, I'm reminded of how, until the 90s, Native Americans were often confined to the past in mainstream society, and our communities were depicted mostly as figures of history, framed in textbooks, museum collections, and the popular media, as if we had vanished after European contact. And for many of us who grew up with movies like Peter Pan or Pocahontas or Westerns, or attended sports games with Native mascots, The portrayals were limited to stereotypes, treating our culture as something frozen in time. And the problems with these portrayals is that they ignore our resilience, our vibrant culture, and the many Indigenous voices that deserved recognition. So this Native American Heritage Month, we have an opportunity and a responsibility to honor the generations of youth growing up in Buffalo today, just as Samantha and I did. And there's kids behind us right now that are very patiently standing there because I don't think they can hear what we're saying here. And so we must recognize, reflect on, and remember our past, but also reclaim it as we look forward. We stand on the land that was once the Buffalo Creek Reservation, where our ancestors thrived, lived, and struggled against relentless attempts to silence us, erase our culture, and take our lands. Yet, despite all those efforts, we're still here, carrying forward the strength and the legacies of those who came before us. It's not only a story of survival, but one of strength, pride, and resilience, the qualities we hope to pass on to the next generation. So today, this flag represents visibility. It's a significant step towards ensuring that our youth feel seen, respected, and proud of who they are. Samantha shared with me how important it is for her that the students of Native American Magnet School number 19 be here, and along with all the other young people gathered here today. Know that you belong, that you matter, and that being Indigenous is something to be proud of, not just in November, but every single day. Yahweh.
Next up, very quickly, I'd like to introduce my boss, someone that I've come to respect and was a friend in the community before he became my boss, Pastor George Nicholas, to speak on cultural identity as part of the social determinants of health.
Good afternoon. Now, who knows that Samantha does not have a boss? Thank you, Samantha, for inviting me to be a part of this very important ceremony today. As the President and CEO of the Buffalo Center for Health Equity, we stand in complete solidarity with the Indigenous community in their continued struggle to find good health for each and every one of its members. You know, one of the things that's happened over the course of this American story is the genocide of a people, or attempted genocide of a people who have so much pride, so much character, so much strength. And in spite of all the things that have been done to this community, they still stand and still stand strong. Unfortunately, like those in the African American community, we still struggle with a lot of health problems. And a lot of those health problems are connected to the stripping away of our cultures, of imposing upon us Western ways of dealing with things, which our own people in our own history, we had ways of dealing with our sicknesses. So today we stand in solidarity with you. We're going to work with you. We're going to love with you. And we're going to stand together in our common humanity so that everybody within our community, young and old, has an equal opportunity to live a prosperous and full life and enjoy all the things that our Creator gives to us. Thank you.
And now with that, I would like to bring up some elected officials. I specifically wanted to make sure that these folks were here with us today. Yes, we are celebrating Indigenous Heritage Month. However, these folks are the decision makers behind us. These are the folks that are saying yes and no to policies that hurt and help us. Hopefully more help than hurt. Right, guys?
We'll work that.
So with that, I would like to first bring up Congressman Tim Kennedy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so honored to be here. First of all, I want to recognize Sam Nephew for her leadership in making this new tradition, an annual tradition, raising the flag of the Native American people, flying high over the great city of Buffalo and our community, the center of our community. I'm so honored to join each and every one of you. I want to recognize also Pastor George Nicholas and the Buffalo Office of Health Equity. The work that they're doing each and every day is really God's work. To the Indigenous spirit dancers, once again, you all look wonderful. To Martin Jimerson, there's a beautiful prayer. To Michael Martin for reminding us of the history that we have to keep in mind as we move forward and work together for common ground, for common decency, but never to forget the terrible things, the oppression, the treachery, the hurt that was put on the backs of the Native people right here in our community. The Seneca people here in Western New York, the Haudenosaunee Nations across the Northeast and here in New York that helped us found this country nearly 250 years ago. And as Michael Martin mentioned, without the Native leaders stepping up, we wouldn't have the country we have today. They were integral to our leaders and those that fought on the front lines during the Revolutionary War for winning that fight and becoming the greatest nation in the history of the world. But we've got work to do. And we've got a history that needs to be remembered. And I was pleased to see President Biden just this week apologize to the Native people of this great land on behalf of the United States of America for the hurt and the pain that was instilled upon the Native people. And it is in that same spirit that we need to move forward as we stand on the shoulders of those that came before us and we work together to form a more perfect union. I want to thank also Mayor Chris Scanlon for helping to put together today, to his colleagues from the Buffalo Common Council, Mitch Nowakowski and Zanetta Everhart, for their leadership and support from the Common Council. Our colleagues in government from the state level, Sean Ryan and Jonathan Rivera. And am I missing anybody else? And I also want to thank Jessica Leonard Parker for her continued work and support. And I see Lindsay Lauren Visser from the City History Department. We have to work together. We will work together. We have an obligation to the people of the past, of the present, and the future to do so. I'm honored to be here in your presence. Thank you.
I would like to offer our acting mayor, Chris Scanlon, a chance to say a few words.
Thank you, Samantha. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor for me to be here, and I thank you for joining us as we begin Native American History Month and raise the Haudenosaunee flag here in Niagara Square. Well, we're doing so much more than that today than raising a flag. We're recognizing the history, the culture, and the contributions of the Indigenous people of this land that dates back much further than the city of Buffalo has even existed. I want to thank Samantha for putting together today's event and for making sure that we are taking time to recognize that history and those contributions. This is only the second time this flag has flown over Niagara Square, and I think it's an indication that as a city, we are continuing to come together. We have such a diverse city, and people from so many different backgrounds, as Michael mentioned, and the Peacemaker talking about the strength in numbers. It's the same here in the city of Buffalo. Our diversity in the city of Buffalo is our strength. So it's extremely important that we continue to recognize that and embrace it. I look forward to this becoming an annual event, not just a one or two time thing. And Samantha, thank you for making sure that this continues to happen. Will be a key goal of my administration to make sure we continue to do things like this in an inclusive manner. Again, it's an honor for me to be here today, and thank you all for joining us. Thank you.
I'd like to offer State Senator Sean Ryan a chance to say a few words.
Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here. Beautiful day, second annual. We like that. Samantha, thanks for your hard work to bring this together. It's great to see all the school children with us today. And Pastor George hit on it, right? We're all working together. There was an attempt to erase the culture. A few things I have done is that at one point the nation reached out to me and said, we have something that's very valuable to our culture, and it's being held by the New York State Museum. And that was the corn planter pipe tomahawk that somehow ended up being owned by the state of New York and not by the Seneca Nation. We worked hard and we restored that artifact back to where it rightfully belongs, and the corn planter pipe is now in the hands of the Seneca Nation where it should have been always. We continued this conversation, and the nation said something else that's near and dear to us is the red jacket medal. And the red jacket medal was being housed at the Buffalo History Museum. So we worked with Melissa Brown in the Buffalo History Museum, and we presented that nation, then the medal back to the nation for where it was supposed to be the whole time. So we in New York State are going to endeavor to do our part to try to unerase the culture that we tried to erase. So I look forward to continuing to work with the nation and to follow their lead into what we need to do to help them grow and to prosper. Thanks so much, Yahweh.
Thank you so much. And now I'd like to offer State Assemblyman John Rivera a chance to say a few words.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Sam Nephew again.
Yeah, Sam.
I've had the good pleasure of knowing Sam many years growing up on the West Side, and it's amazing to see all the things you're doing. Thank you for getting us here together. I'll just be brief, and I'll say thank you for including us as representatives in government to be here. We are so proud to represent not just our corners of the region, but really this community especially. There is a deep history that needs to continue to be put on the forefront, and we just acknowledge everything that's gotten us here. So anything that we can do moving forward in government, we are here for you, and we look forward to that partnership and many more things to come. Thank you very much.
I'd also like to bring up a dear friend of mine and someone who I know who has worked in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space and is now one of our city council members in the Maston district, Zanetta Everhart.
Thank you, Sam. And I, too, will be very brief. I just want to say that today we are giving a shout out to our ancestors. And I say our because we are standing on their land. And so thank you to Sam, thank you, Melissa, thank you, Mike, for all of your work in protecting history and celebrating culture. And that is something that we all need to celebrate in. So let's be loud real quick for them. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Our history is a shared history. And like I said, we stand on their land. So we stand on their shoulders. And so I just want to congratulate them for keeping us at the table with you, allowing us to celebrate with you, allowing us to live on your land. We honor you and we love you, and thank you for all the work that you do.
All right, thank you so much for all of our speakers today. We are now going to have a dance demonstration for everybody in attendance.
Good afternoon there. How's everybody doing there today? It's a little on the chilly side here, but I hope everybody's making do there. My name is Martin Jefferson Jr. from the Seneca Nation here. We have a couple of dancers that are here with us here today here, and I'd like to showcase some of our traditional social dances, what we call Haudenosaunee Confederacy. These songs and dances are used as a means of entertainment, enjoyment there, and it brings our community together. And a lot of times there will be trying to use it as good vibes or good medicine, as we say at times there. But right now we have our dancers come on out, and we're going to do a little welcome dance here to welcome everybody here to City Hall for this amazing event here. We That is a welcome song and dance here, like I was saying here. And, we still hold our ceremonial songs and dances are still intact back in our longhouses. They're held at certain times throughout the year. But what we're seeing today is just samples of our social dancing. And this next dance that we're going to do here, like to have our ladies come on out. And in our traditional ways, we hold all the females in high regard. They are the life givers. They have a responsibility that us males do not have. And within the longhouses there, they elect our title holders. But they say this dance here stems back to our creation story. As it said, Sky Woman, she lived up in the sky world there. And there was a tree that was uprooted, and there was a hole. As she fell through this hole, she was caught by a flock of birds and placed on the back of a turtle. And as the ladies danced, the turtle began to expand to what we call North America, or Turtle Island. But they say the most important piece of this dance here is you have to watch the footwork of the ladies. As they say, their feet are always pressed in the back of what we call a Tino Anointed Day, or Mother Earth. So with that being said, we're going to have our ladies come on out, and we're going to do Esteemed, the New Women's Shuffle Dance. That we do that's a very energetic and competitive style dancing, as you're going to see here. Now these dancers, they get out there and this is kind of how they express their through body movement and the footwork there you're going to see here. And what this dance is called is a smoke dance. So we're going to have our dancers come on out here, and we're going to have Mark give us a song here. Actually, I'm going to get out there and dance too. Times when you haven't danced in a while there, and you're kind of singing up here singing or emceeing here, I gotta get back in shape there, but we're gonna do one more dance for you guys here, and this one here is usually one that we always cap off our social dancing here. And in the language, this is what we call Haudenosaunee, and it's more of a freestyle dance here. The speed of the dance varies there. But we're going to have our dancers come on out here, and we're going to do a little Haudenosaunee or stick dance. So this will be our last one for this song.
Thank you so much again, Marty and the Indigenous Spirit Dancers. How about another round of applause for the Spirit Dancers? I just want to thank everyone for coming out today. This was yet another beautiful event that I've put together in the city. We're here. As far as I know, I've been here my whole life. So I'm just really excited that this is something that, one, our young people were able to come out to. We have some elders in the crowd. We have a lot of people who live in Buffalo but are very, very proud Indigenous people. And thank you everybody for coming out. I welcome the Spirit Dancers and some of our 8th grade students from this Native American Magnet School, School 19, to come help me raise the flag. Again, thank you everybody for coming out today. Nyawe.